All right.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome, Dr.
Hello.
Aditi.
Hi. So happy to be here.
So tell us about yourself. How did you join the Usmle journey, and how did you prepare for step 3?
Yes, sure. So I'm a foreign graduate. I studied in India, and I've taken all of my steps. And I'm currently in the process of applying for internal medicine. And right now, I'm working as a frontline worker in a COVID hospital in my country, in India.
Awesome. So tell us about Usmle step 3, the format. Firstly, the format of the exam.
Okay, sure. So, as most of you might know, this is the last exam in the USMLE series, and it's a 2-day exam. And you could take both the days one after the other, or with like a few days gap in between. And then day one will test foundations of independence practice. So it's basically a lot of biostats and step one and CK material, ethics, patient safety, a lot of drug ads. So day one will have about 6 hours of actual MCQs with a total test time of about 7 hours. And then, so this will be the same format as the students are used to from their steps 1 and 2. So this will be about 38 to 39 questions for 1 hour each, and then 6 blocks of that. And then you can divide your break time as you wish. And then day two would test advanced clinical concepts. So day two includes about 6 blocks of 45 minutes of like 30 questions each. And then, so this is the MCQ part, and then day two also has the CCS component. And that would be about, that would take the time. So the whole test duration of day two is about 9 hours. And just to add, day two would test a lot of diagnostics, management, patient screening, any health promotion. It is like a more straightforward CK, at least the MCQ part. And then the only novel thing is the CCS component. And then
Wow. So it's a 2-day exam, and one thing that is new in this exam is the CCS. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So
I'm sorry.
so CCS, I don't know if I mentioned already, but it'll have like 13 cases, about half and half of 10 minutes and 20 minutes, like the long or the short cases. And in the whole day two, you have about 1 hour of break time. So you are supposed to divide it between your CCS as well as between your MCQ blocks. So day two is all about time management. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So who is eligible for this exam? Can anyone who is not ECFMD certified give it?
So yeah, who's eligible is somebody who's graduated from their medical school, and so somebody who has taken their step 1, step 2, and CK as well as CS. These are the people who get ECFMG certified and become eligible to take step 3. Now, with one of the many new alternative pathways, you can also get certified with just your step 1 and CK. So it'll be somebody who's already a graduate and who's already done with all of their other step exams.
Yeah. So last year, a lot of new things happened, and many of the people were not able to give CS. So what's the procedures to apply to USMLE Step 3 without CS?
So application as well as the exam step 3 per se remains the same. The only eligibility criteria that changed was that those who could not take the CS because of the pandemic, they are supposed to obtain their certification through one of the 6 pathways. So once you are eligible for the pathway and you get certified, as well as like you're a graduate, you are eligible to take step 3. So do you want me to talk about the application process?
So how can one apply for this exam?
Right. So yeah, so step 3 application is a little different from the other exams. because here you apply through the FSMB portal. And so, so if you want to know more about the application, you can go to the USMLE official website. But the portal where you submit your application is called the FSMB portal. And here you would need you would need something called the CID form, which is Certificate of Identification. An application fee of about $895 and the ECFMG certificate. And then I think the processing time at the end of FSME takes about 1 to 2 weeks. And so, and then specifically about the CID form, you have to get it notarized either by a bank official if you're in the US, or if you're in India, you can get it notarized by a lawyer here.
So one has to go to the FSMB, get the CID form notarized,
Right.
and then you'll be able to apply for this exam. So where
Yeah,
do we
three,
have to give this exam?
Yeah, just to summarize, it's 3 things: the application fee, the CID form, as well as your ECFMG certificate. So where can you give the exam? You can only give it at Prometric centers in the US. And so you have to plan well ahead, because some people might need a visa to travel. So you can take it in any of the Prometric centers in the US.
Okay, wow. So tell me, is it compulsory to join a residency? Step 3 is compulsory.
The short answer is no, but for a lot of IMGs, it becomes very important. So whether it is compulsory or not is very subjective, I would say, because AMGs can just apply with like a good step 1 score. Most IMGs would apply with step 1 and 2. But if you want to if you want to become more competitive, like if you want to seem like a competitive applicant, then it's advisable that you give step 3. And also those who are trying to get the H1 visa, those they have to give the H1, the step 3 as well. You don't, it's not compulsory to apply, it's not compulsory to match, and neither it is compulsory to start your intern year. But a lot of IMGs take it before they start for different reasons.
Okay. So they can even start their residency and give step 3 later.
That is correct. I believe you can take it like till the end of second year. I'm not sure, but at least till the end of your first year of residency. But the advantage of taking it beforehand would be, one, like I said, like you would be a little more competitive than the others. And program directors prefer if IMGs have a step 3 score, just because then they don't have to worry about whether you will pass the exam or not once you get into residency, because the residency can get very hectic.
All right. So tell us about the portion of the exam. There's a lot of information floating around the internet that you need to read the entire step 1 and step 2 CK again. Is that true?
Sorry, I lost you there.
So let's talk about the portion for this exam. Do we need to go through USMLE step 1 and step 2 CK content all over again? And do we need to cover everything?
Right. So if you look at the official USMLE portion outline, it's pretty much the same for all the steps in terms of what comes under general principles and what comes under organ systems. But how they are tested in the different steps is different, and what weightage is given to each component is also different. So I would say the portion outline is the same as the other steps, but there is more emphasis on they are basically testing you for independent practice, like as a primary care physician. So there is more emphasis on diagnostics management, and there's a lot of biostats, I would say, a lot of drug ads. In terms of systems, cardiorespiratory is very important. But of course, like anybody can get a different weightage of any organ system. I would encourage everybody to check out the official content outline. that gives all the different aspects in detail. You can definitely check out the sample questions that are on the website. There's about 120 of them, if I'm not wrong. And then there's 6 CCS sample cases. Those are a must. You must do them at least 2-3 times before your actual exam. And then biostats is also a big component of the portion. So these may be like simple calculations, or they may be like big drug ads over like 2-3 questions, tested over 2-3 questions.
So a lot of people spend a lot of time on Usmle Step 3, and you had attempted it with a very short preparation period. So how did you prepare for it?
Right. So the preparation time would obviously depend on your goal score. So I scored 237, which is about 83rd percentile, and I took about 6 weeks for it, of which 2 were dedicated. And so you could prepare for the exam in about 3 to 8 weeks, I would say. People even take longer. It just depends on what your goal score is. And then how you would plan to take it is just know your goal score, know that the results will take 3 to 4 weeks, and then plan the timing of your exam accordingly.
All right. If any of our viewers at this point have any questions, please click the question box on this live and feel free to ask us any questions, and we'll keep on going and talk to each other. So tell us about what resources did you use for preparing for step 3?
So since I had a relatively short preparation period, I used only Word, but I did like look at the other resources too. And at the end of the exam, I felt that UWorld was pretty much all you needed. But you can check out, so your main resource is going to be UWorld. So this would include the QBank, the biostats, additional 75, 76 questions, and the CCS cases, of which I would definitely emphasize on the interactive cases. Running the cases and actually putting in orders is much more important than just reading what to do, because time management is very important for CCS cases. So overall, you could supplement your UWorld with I would say ccscases.com if you need some more practice with CCS. Then Archer has some preparatory videos. You could browse YouTube. A lot of people have put out like really good content on YouTube regarding the Step 3 exam. And for the Step 1 and Step 2 content, you should refer to your first. So microbiology, pharmacology, any key pathology concepts that you want to brush up on. And for CK, you could go back to any UWorld tables that you might have saved, or any important concepts that were tested in CK, any notes that you might have from your CK exam. And then specifically for biostats, I recommend doing the additional UWorld biostats, any YouTube videos that you might want to supplement that with.
Oh, hi. So
Is there a
I couldn't
lag?
hear you. I couldn't hear. Yeah, I couldn't hear the last part regarding the biostats.
Okay, just one. Will you just give me a second?
So till now we covered what is Step 3 and how to prepare for it. And regarding the preparation, Dr. Aditi had mainly used UWorld, and also she recommends revising her previous notes from Step 1 and Step 2. And as she mentioned, some parts of it really get tested, and it could be a surprise. Let me add her back. Hi, welcome back.
Hi, sorry about that.
Okay. Tell us about what did you specifically prepare for and used from the past resources that you had. Did you use first aid? Did you use UL notes?
Right. So I would really urge everybody to focus just on UWorld for step 3 and the interactive cases under UWorld. But in addition to that, this is only in addition, like if you have the time, go through microbiology, general pharmacology, any other organ system pharmacology, any key pathology topics from the different organ systems, all of this from your step 1 first aid. And then from your CK, you could go through any of the UWorld notes or tables that you might have saved. This is definitely optional. I think the UWorld QBank for step 3 covers mostly all the important pathologies in terms of like diagnostics and management. So stick to UWorld. Try to do the interactive cases at least twice before your day 2, because CCS is completely make or break for step 3. And then revise first aid of step 1 as much as you can, like just the important topics.
All right. So did you use any self-assessment before the exam?
So I only use for the QBank, from the QBank I only use the UWorld self-assessment 2. I scored a 225 in that, and this was about a week before my or like 5 days before my actual exam, and then I scored a 237 after my final exam. So I recommend doing just the self-assessments. I think there is a single NBME, if I'm not wrong, and there is also the sample questions on the official USMLE website. But the key component really here is to test yourself with a lot of CCS cases, because CCS is very important for in terms of scoring.
So you got to jump from your UWSA to the real exam, or more than 10
I did.
points.
Yeah. So about 12 points in my case. It could be a jump for most people. It is a jump. So if as long as you're like within your goal score range, you should be okay, like going ahead with the exam. And obviously, you can like boost your score with your practice.
How many days did you take between day 1 and day 2?
Right. So I recommend taking at least a day off in between. If your self-assessments are not that great, if you're not comfortable with the portions, definitely delay day 2. But more often than not, IMGs tend to space out in day 2, just depending on availability of dates at that test center or any other commitments that they might have. If they don't have a lot of time for step 3, then they might try to keep both the days closer. But try to take a day off in between and revise your CC as well.
Okay, so if you are well prepared, you should give it as soon as possible with 1 or 2 days of break. If you're not, you can
Yes.
take a bigger gap. So tell me about how did the exam go, and do you have any exam day tips?
Right. So exam day tips is really just like come well prepared. All the resources that I mentioned, use those. Feel free to explore anything else that you would like. Time management is key on day 2, so I want to talk more about that. The rest of the exam you're mostly used to by now from the other steps. Day 2 is 6 blocks of 45 minutes each, and then 13 cases of about 10 to 20 minutes each. So just plan your breaks between all of this, and then all the time that you save from, if you finish a case early, that time gets added to your break time. You can always come outside and brush up on the other cases. This is allowed during the step exams. So try to finish the cases early. This will just add time to your break time, and you can just revise more for the other cases. the 10-minute cases end up really fast. So definitely like prepare yourself really well to use the software. Again, I just want to emphasize, don't just like cram the management and the diagnostics. It's mostly about like pressing all the buttons like really fast and knowing what to type and type as the order. Um, um, then about the gap, like try to keep a day or two in between. And as much as you want to read and revise your UWorld and your first aid for day two, try to spend like most of your time on CCS preparation.
All right. So, what is the ideal time to prepare for step 3 according to you?
Ideal time to prepare would be, I want to say 4 weeks of dedicated, really. I think there are about 1600 questions so in the QBank, so which is about 40 blocks. So try to finish those as fast as you can. Go over the 40 practice cases, go over the interactive cases 2 to 3 times, and like make notes out of those. So as long as it takes you to do that, but 4 weeks of dedicated is usually good enough. And then when you want to
Right.
take it would be like if you want a step 3 score before your application, try to give it by July, August. And if you want it for the match, then try to give it by Jan or Feb. For people who are
Okay.
applying who would be applying this cycle.
Okay. So we are taking audience questions now. Is there any days limit for second part of step 3?
I think it has to be within 15 days, if I'm not wrong. But I should look this up.
I had a gap of 12 days, so definitely 12 days would work.
Yeah.
I don't know if the limit is 15.
I'm not sure if the
Okay.
limit is 15, but don't try to keep it like really apart, because you might forget your content from your UWorld and your notes.
Right. So
Yeah, a
how
week is
advanced
okay.
in time we need to book the test?
I didn't get the question. 1
Someone
month in
asked,
advance? What did you say?
right. Yeah, that seems to be right.
Yeah, you can
Definitely
book
before
a
one
month
month.
in advance.
Yep. Because
I mean, go ahead.
I tried booking 15 days just before 15 days, and the dates were becoming quite full. So definitely book 1 month in advance.
1 month is good. Yeah, 1 month is okay.
Okay. Let me see anyone else. Can we book a test in Prometric 1 month in advance at least?
Yeah, this is the same one we answered. Okay.
Okay. So the few others are, is 1.5 months enough with 4 hours of daily study?
It is. I mean, if you can like manage to finish like 40 questions every day, so you need about 40 days if you're just doing a block a day, and then you can have like 2-3 CCS cases on the side, and then towards the end, maybe like the last week could be dedicated,
Okay.
and then you can obviously
So
space out your 2
if
days.
anyone is able to do 1 block per day, they can finish it in 1.5 months.
40
So
days. Yeah.
it's not about the hours, but the questions. That's amazing. So next question is, if we take step 3 after starting residency, will my visa change from J1 to H1B?
No, that does not happen. You go on an H1 or a J1, so you can't change it after you've start. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I think you can't.
Yeah, definitely. Once you are issued a J1, you have to do a waiver. That's that's mandatory. You cannot just switch from J1 to H1B like that. But if you're on J1 clinical research, then maybe there are options. But as far as I know, for J1 you have to do the waiver.
That is correct. Yeah.
So how long does it take for the result to come?
It takes 3 to 4 weeks unless they announce a delay beforehand. So you should monitor the USMLE website for this. But it's usually 3 Wednesdays to 4 Wednesdays.
All right. Someone asked an unrelated question. How would step 1 affect pass fail? Do you think step 3 would be more important if step 1 becomes pass fail?
Definitely. I mean, it's another data point to kind of see whether, just to see the trend, like, are you doing better or worse? And you always want to show that you're doing better than your, like, from your previous test scores. And so if step 1 goes pass and fail, then more and more IMGs will have to take their step 3 before they apply.
Yeah, definitely. If step 1 becomes pass fail, it's step 2 that every step 2 and step 3 that everybody would focus on. Definitely step 3
Yeah.
would become more important for, especially for IMGs. Is it possible for step 3 to do step 3 while doing US clinical experience at the same time?
Yes, because a lot of people usually take step 3 while they're in their intern year or busy working somewhere or in a research year or during USC. So it is definitely possible. You would have to look at your self-assessments. But this exam is definitely more doable than the other ones. So if you plan ahead and if you finish your portions in time, then yes.
Awesome. So the next question is, what is the latest by which we can give step 3 for our application?
So this cycle will start on September 29th. So you want to give it by probably August first week, second week. But yeah, I mean, like the score report takes a little bit of time, and then I think putting it on your application also takes a few working days. So you want to this week, I would say.
Yeah, definitely there could be some delay to get your step 3 score to your on your USMLE transcript, and that gets transmitted to the programs. So definitely you want to be as early as possible. So the next question is, how important is step 3 score if you have not applied yet and you have low scores in previous step?
I mean, definitely you want to show an improvement, and for IMGs, it is just becoming more and more important. A lot more people are giving it than before. So if you are not comfortable with your other scores, definitely go ahead and take the exam.
True. If other scores are not good, then improvement in step 3 would show that you are still working hard on gaining knowledge. Definitely, I agree with you. So tell me, what if someone gets their score after they apply to the residency programs? Can they share the results to the programs after they apply?
Yes, I think a majority of IMGs do that because before application, you're busy with all the other things that you have to put on your application, and then once you're done submitting the application, you have some time to take the step 3 exam, and so a lot of IMGs do take it during the interview season, and of course, you can
How
update the programs by emailing them.
how do you send them the update? Is it by just by transmitting the transcript, or do you also send an email?
Yes, both ways. So most applicants would have paid beforehand for the USMD transcript. So you need to know, you need to tell, I think ERAS to just update it in your transcript. And then if you send an email, you can notify them by email, or you can just let them know that there is a change in the transcript, and please have a look at this.
All right. So anything you want to add to all of this that you shared about USMLE Step 3?
Yes, so I'll just say all of this is just my experience, and everybody has a different timeline. And if you are closer to if you've just given your CK exam, try to give your step 3 closer to that, just because it will save some time in preparation. And then just focus a lot on CCS. Try to take like at least a day off between both the exams, and just like CCS will be make or break. So definitely like prepare really well for that.
All right. Dr. Aditi, everybody, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for hosting me. Thank you.
See
Bye. Good
you.
night.
See you. Good night, everybody. Good night.